Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rise and Slay, a women empowerment podcast dedicated to inspire and empower women from all over the world. And before we begin our next episode, I would like to invite each and every one of you to please kindly like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell for more updates on our channel. In today's episode, we are going to talk about someone who found her voice and gave her country pride and honor when she won Miss Earth 2015. As a person who is the breadwinner of the family, she was also able to graduate at a prestigious school by being a working student. Let us all welcome Miss Earth 2015, Angelia Ong.
Hi, Angelia.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Actually, I'm really happy na I was able to get a schedule with you kasi you're very busy, diba?
I do fly around a lot, but I did decide to stay in Manila for a while. So I'm also really happy that you thought of me and we get to catch up. It's been a while.
Yeah, actually, it's been a while. And actually, one of the reasons why I invited you here because you have a very inspiring story to tell to people. So,
Wow, thank you.
so, Angelia, can you share a bit about your early life and the challenges you faced growing up?
I was actually born here in Manila, but I grew up in the province, which is Iloilo. So a lot of who I am today is a mixture of the provincial life and the city life here in Manila. So a lot of my values are actually very Ilonggo. Kaya, kahit galit na minsan, mukha pa rin kaming malambing.
Oh, malambing pa rin.
But growing up in the province, I did not grow up with a silver spoon. So I really grew up knowing the value of hard work and of course of money as well. And my mom was a single parent. She was the one who brought me and my brother up by herself. And I've seen her sacrifices, and I think that's always inspired me to do better in school and in anything or in any endeavor that I find myself into. It always had that intention that I could help my family, especially my mom. So that's always been part of me. So nadala ko yan in school, and of course when I moved to Manila, when I did the pageant, kumbaga.
Yeah.
It had a lot of self-discovery, but really the main drive that really inspired me was, I want to do or I want to make a better life for me and the family. So there's that. Challenges, a lot. Oh my God. Of course, living in the province, moving here, that's a big adjustment. I remember I would stay with my auntie because, we really don't have our own house here, although my dad is here.
What age did you move here to Manila?
I moved back to Manila because I was born here. So I was here until I think around 3 or 4 is when we moved to Iloilo. And ever since, I actually stayed for a year pa in Mindanao.
Mindanao. So you're technically everywhere. No naman.
Not necessarily, but I did experience a year because, it was really tough for a single parent to raise 2 kids on her own. And mom needed a little help, and so I was, iniwan muna niya ako. She left me for a year in Butuan City where my lolo is.
Okay.
So I stayed with my grandparents for a year, and then I moved back to Iloilo, and I finished.
How old were you that time?
I was 6.
Oh, okay.
So kinder 2 yon. I can't forget it because that's.
Grabe, you have a sharp memory. Okay.
No, I do. I mean, I always cherish, my moments when I was living in Mindanao. Even though I was really young, I had really fond memories of my grandfather and my grandma, because my grandfather died a few years later. So I always have that with me, and I'm thankful that I got to experience that, because I mean, they really took care of me. I was doing good in school. I finished first place.
Okay.
I graduated in kinder with
With
flying
honors.
colors.
Wow. Honor student.
And that's where I actually started having the confidence of being on stage. Because at that age, because it was a Catholic school, and
Yes.
one of the mothers, the nun teachers, she was actually the one who sort of discovered my relationship with the stage. I used to sing when I was young.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, not everybody knows that. But like,
Okay, I haven't heard you sing yet.
You sing better than me,
Okay.
for sure. But the first song that I actually performed with an audience was Whitney Houston's The Greatest Love of All.
Wow! Oh my God, belter ka pala.
Like, yeah, belter, pero nakatayo lang. I was
Okay.
really shy, but I guess that was my first sort of like, breaking the ice in terms of like performing on stage.
Yes.
And ever since, I've always had that extra confidence. And when I went back to Iloilo, I was always on stage na.
You love the stage na.
Yeah, like I became really comfortable, and I would present talaga na, can I join the vocal solo singing contest?
Wow, okay. So,
Every year yon. So like it really, really, molded my self-confidence.
Okay.
And when I was young, my mom would joke. And of course, I took it seriously because I was a kid, right? And she would tell me like, sa demonyo yung hiya-hiya. So, medyo walang hiya ako ng bata ako.
Oh, but that's
Slight
good.
lang naman, in a good way.
that's good.
But
That's what you
of
call
course,
confidence.
Yeah, at a young age, I really did have a good confidence. Pero nung nagdalaga na ako, it totally flipped.
Talaga?
Yeah, I had to
So how was it?
confidence.
Yeah, so how was it like? I'm really curious kasi syempre when you were young, you had this like a boost of extra confidence kasi you have
Yeah.
zero inhibitions, diba? Like
Yeah, because
growing up,
your mom, your parents, or your family would always say, you're ang ganda-ganda mo, ang galing-galing mo. So I've always had it. But of course, like when you start like, puberty, and you start getting more exposed with other people around you, you get to start comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Start like the transition, like you start getting shy.
Again, like,
Yeah, parang hindi ko siya na-maintain because I had, I guess, a little bit of insecurities. The confidence just like faded. I know it's there, but like,
yeah,
it's
actually,
not
I can
the
relate to
same.
you. Like, parang when you were young, like, you can totally own it. And then
Yeah.
eventually, you become conscious of people around you.
Yeah,
You don't
and
know what
you
you
start
think.
having crushes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I remember bigla akong tumangkad one summer.
Okay.
So from always being in front of the line, one summer I came back. I have to be at the back of the line because, I was taller than usual.
Taller.
Yeah, I became taller than usual. It was still good.
It was
There were a lot of challenges, especially financially. Of course, I also studied in a private school. So my classmates, they were really well off. And, it was hard. I'm not trying to compete or anything. Pero syempre, it's really hard to like embrace their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Kasi I cannot be like them. Because,
Yes.
again, like my mom was just really struggling. But I'm thankful that my mom really fought and did her best to educate us in a good school because it's in the school where I started dreaming kasi bigger in life na parang there's more to what I know at home.
Yes.
And every time like my classmates would like travel, during summer, because there would be summer camps and, because it was a Chinese
Yes.
school too. So they'd go to China and then they come back. Like,
Well, you're in a Chinese school, so you know how to speak in Chinese.
I used to.
Used
but
to.
not fluent. I used to memorize kasi because
Okay.
I have Chinese classes also. I would memorize lang, but I have no way to practice it at home because nobody speaks Chinese at home. So, but because I ended up having a love of singing and performing,
Yes.
I end up always singing also in Chinese.
Oh, singing.
I'd memorize it, and then I'd memorize a song, and then I'd sing in Chinese. I think one of the most memorable song that I actually asked my teacher to translate from English to Chinese was Reflection of Mulan.
Okay.
And this was, of course, obviously before, there's a live adaptation just the recent years, right? So there wasn't really a Chinese legit version of Mulan in, the song. So my teacher had to translate all of it. And I got to perform the song before it became an actual Chinese song, like worldwide.
Yeah. That's good. This is the first time that I've heard it from you na you sing. So I'm quite surprised.
I did. Not
Diba?
anymore. Like, I can't na. Like, before, I really would belt out. Like, go-tos would... Of course, I started with Whitney Houston, so that's really a challenge. And then I was a big fan of Regine. I still
Regine
am,
Velasquez.
actually. I love her. Like, I would love to see her live. Like, mga pang competition kasi. So, Regine, Laning
So you competed when you were young?
Yeah. And it has to be OPM back in the day.
Yun yung uso nun eh.
Filipino music
Yun yung
talaga
uso.
siya.
Yun yung uso before.
So kaya, like, it's really a requirement even.
Yes.
So I competed. I represented my school. I won for my school.
Wow, galing.
Yeah, I would win competitions back in the day. Pero syempre, yun na nga, when I started, like, the transition from elementary to high school, I became a little awkward. But I've always remained, performing on stage one way or another. Kahit hindi ako magaling sumayaw, I would try out, ganon.
Yes.
Like, the stage has always been
That's good.
something I find comfort in.
You're in the zone when you're on stage.
Yeah, kasi hindi naman ako, I'm glad that I excel in class, but hindi ako yung mas study.
Okay.
So I always have co-curricular activities as well.
Okay, so when you moved to Manila, when you moved to Manila, so from Mindanao, to Manila, so
It's not from Mindanao.
Mindanao, Butuan.
I went to Butuan for a year only.
Okay. So, okay.
I was 6 years old, so 6 to 7. So,
Alright.
kinder 2 ako nun.
Oh,
So,
okay.
kinder 2. And then I moved back to Iloilo with my mom. Kasi my mom can't bear to leave me also. Syempre, she's a mom. So,
Alright.
parang 1 year is torture for her being away with me. She had to work And she took me back. So I went back in Iloilo and I studied in a Chinese school.
Yeah.
It's called Huashong. It used to be, we call it ICCHS back in the day, Iloilo Central Commercial High School. But now, meron na kasi din silang college. So, it's now College of Huashong na siya. So,
But growing up,
mga famous
alumni in your school. But growing up, like let's say here, your life in Manila, can you share with us your life here in Manila? How was it?
Definitely, it was a struggle at first. Like, the pageantry really changed my life. When I moved here, I would stay with my auntie. I would actually sleep on her floor.
Your mom is here also, no?
No. My mom was back home.
Okay.
Actually, what brought me to Manila first was I was looking for my dad.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a relationship with my dad. And while I was growing up, I got a little bit jealous of like my cousins, that they have such a great relationship with their dads. And I felt like that was missing. And I asked my auntie, auntie, can you bring me this coming summer? And can we look for my dad? And so we did that. And thank God I found him and we started, communicating.
How are you able to find your dad?
Oh, it was field work and research.
Ang galing.
Of course, we started with relatives that probably has an idea, but we went to 3 places until we found him.
Oh, pero you mentioned kasi, di ba, your dad, when you were young, he left, di ba? He left, or paano ba?
Naman.
What happened?
They separated. I was very young when my mom and my dad, they realized that they're not a fit. So my mom, they decided to separate, and my mom brought me, because of course I'm a baby, I'm a kid. So my mom brought me in Iloilo. My mom never taught me to have any resentment with my dad.
Yeah,
that's why I was okay to find him. It's just that I don't know how to reach him. Back in the day, obviously, wala pa masyadong cellphones.
Oo,
You
wala pa
know,
masyado
so
eh.
I don't know if he has a cell phone. We've never really communicated until we finally found each other, and you know, we've always been connected since. Until you know he recently passed.
Sorry.
But yeah, like starting in Manila, it wasn't easy because I was already studying in Iloilo. What brought me to Manila also was pageantry because I did
Yeah.
Binibining Pilipinas.
Was that your first
First First
Oh
ever.
my God,
I think
national
school-
pageant agad.
Yeah, because
What
I don't
year
think
is this?
school counts, right? I don't think school counts. Kasi kung sa school, parang I did, well, Mr. and Miss Intramurals counted ba yun? Parang hindi naman. I was
Okay,
in grade,
still a
6th
pageant.
grade. Tapos like in my fourth year high school, parang lakan at lakambini ng wika. August, you
yeah,
know?
okay.
Like, our school was really exposed us with a lot of things. So I did those and I won both naman. But
Wow.
like, it's not like I was a pageantera or whatever. It's just like, alam mo yun, napupush. Because I was one of the taller ones in the class.
And I think what add to that kasi, di ba, you mentioned earlier, the pageant is your runway, di ba? So parang sanay na sanay ka na sa stage pala. The stage is your runway.
I mean, yes, I'm comfortable on stage. I still have butterflies in my stomach, but like I am comfortable being on stage, and I love being on stage.
It's good.
Whether I'm good at it or not, but like I find a way to always be there. In Manila, I did Binibini.
Okay.
And then also I kind of fell in love here.
Oh.
Yeah, with I had a boyfriend.
Okay.
And then it just made it more sense. Like, maybe I should just
Stay.
move. You know, move.
But during the time that you joined Binibini, were you still in school or did
Yeah.
you stop? Oh.
I was in school, and I had to stop because, of course, I'm in Iloilo, and I needed to be here to compete. So I had to stop for that semester.
Okay.
But then I realized that I feel like in Iloilo because I felt like I've achieved something somehow because actually I started working at the age of 17. I worked on TV. I have my own TV show. It's a travel magazine show called Style Naton or Our Style. I have counterparts in Cebu, in Baguio, and Western Visayas was my turf. So at 17, they would like put so much makeup on me.
Okay.
So I'd look more mature because my co-hosts back then were like older than they were like in their 30s, and I was only 17. And and when that show ended, it felt right to like explore something new. Because for me, like or at least I felt that time I was kind of peaking already back in my hometown, and I wanted to try what else is there out there because I've always known that I always wanted to travel and like just see the world basically.
Okay.
So moving to Manila, I did the Binibining Pilipinas, and then I went back to Iloilo for a while, and then I was like, I was getting invites back to Manila, and I was like, why not try? And then when I moved here, it wasn't really like easy. I slept on the floor
Okay.
at first because of course my auntie like had a really small space, and I was just squeezing in, and she was a doctor. I mean, I do sleep naman in her spot if she's on duty, but when she's around, like I have to sleep on the floor, like I commute, everything, as in I've been through it, and then I was really, really driven to try it out here and also study.
Okay, so during the time that you mentioned that you stopped, right? And then eventually you studied here in Manila.
Yes.
So when you studied here in Manila,
I was a working student.
oh, okay. So how old were you when you started becoming a working student?
I mean, at 17, I was already working, so I consider myself a working student.
Oh,
already.
wow.
So whatever I earned in the TV show, that's what I pay for my tuition back in Iloilo.
So that was the one you mentioned earlier in Travel Magazine.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
my first legit job.
Ang galing.
TV, yeah.
And then, can you share with us your struggles that you experienced, like balancing? Kasi syempre, it's hard being
It's
a working
very hard.
Yeah.
I originally wanted to continue my studies or like the course that I've already started back in Iloilo. But then when I moved here, they wouldn't credit my subjects.
Yung mga subjects, yeah.
And I was like, that's like going back to zero. Ambitious ako. I went to LaSalle.
Yeah, LaSalle, yeah.
I wanted to go to LaSalle, but then when I got there, I don't know anybody. And then they already closed their
Applications.
Yes, and I was like, I don't want to wait for another semester because I really, really wanted to study, even though I don't know where I was gonna get my money, like to pay, because like no one was really like committed to like, oh, I'll cover your tuition or whatever. But I really, really wanted to graduate.
Grabe.
So it was just lakas ng loob lang talaga. So I went to LaSalle and then they're like, oh, we're sorry, it's closed. And so what I did, tumawid ako.
Okay.
Benilde wasn't my first choice, but
Okay.
that's where I graduated. So tumawid ako Benilde, sabi ko, I'll do well here. Kasi sila, open pa sila for another week.
Okay.
And then they told me that they have a working student program.
Wow.
Which means I'm not allowed to go beyond 15 units per semester, but it's a 3-semester university or in college kasi. So
How was your like schedule during that time? How were you able to
yeah,
balance?
that's why I'm gonna say the working student program, we call it CDP, Career Development Program. Your classes with them are only night classes. So it starts at 6, ends at 9, Monday
Okay.
to Friday. And on Saturday, it's a whole not whole day, but half day rather. So that was my life. So I work in the morning. I did work in an office. I did a lot of things like even ushering in events. I
Okay.
did that because they didn't know. Of course, I'm only starting. I don't know anybody here. And eventually people picked up that I actually host because I am a host.
Yes.
And so I started earning from that too.
But
so
the
I was
host-
hosting,
yeah.
modeling, and then like brands would get me because of my hair. I have like long hair. So
Okay.
actually my hair was the reason why I
You got the projects.
I got a project that even brought me to Thailand twice. And
Oh.
and whatever I made from that, that's actually the money that I paid for my tuition.
Wow.
Kasi mas mahal ang Benilde kesa sa LaSalle.
Oo.
Like for some reason,
Yeah,
like
it's
there are.
more expensive.
So yeah, it was. Ako kasi there are things that are really clear for me. Like I want to graduate. I want to make my mom proud. I want to change our life. So even though the path is not as clear, I kind of know where I'm headed, but I don't know how exactly I'm gonna get there. But I never stop. Every opportunity that came, if something came knocking at my door, I'd always consider. I'd give it a little bit of.
You always
I would
seize the
entertain.
opportunity, huh?
Yeah, I'd entertain. Is this something that I think I could do? As long as I don't compromise my morals and values, I'd go for it because I'm very strict with that. I grew up in Iloilo. We're very conservative.
Yes.
Actually, Manila is such a. There's a little bit of a culture shock even because like I was the kind of girl that would because Boracay is so close to Iloilo. Ako yung klase ng girl na when I swim in the beach, meron akong tapis.
Yeah, that
And then
conservative.
I would swim with the tapis. Tatanggalin ko, I'll swim there. But before I come up, may tapis na ako ulit. Like, that
Okay.
was how I was, really. And then eventually here in Manila, I was like, skin.
Yeah, but it's also different when you join pageants also, di ba? Kasi it's all
a big
skin.
adjustment.
So how did you carry yourself? Kasi parang I'm curious, you
I
were
got
conservative.
training. That's where KF came in.
Yeah.
And that's when I met like Tito Rog. So when I did Bini Bini, and the reason why I did it is because my counterpart from the TV show in Cebu, she was a former Miss World, Binibining Pilipinas World. Her name was Miss Anna Marie Igpe.
Oh, okay.
So she was the host of Cebu. I was the host of Iloilo. And then like people were like joking around, like, oh, maybe you can be a beauty queen. And I was like, I'm like, I don't mind. Sure, why not? And she's like, if you're serious, like you have potential. Like if you're serious. And if you want to join this coming edition, you have to leave now because you need training. Because I really don't know anything. I had only like a few thousand pesos in my bank account
Yeah.
from what I earn, from the TV show. And that's why I'm really thankful with KF, especially with Tito Raj, back in the day with Mama G, who trained us with the walking. Because like, they do this out of passion. I didn't have the money to like really support my journey. I didn't know that it would take that much.
Yeah.
But then they would even like cover my makeup fees so that I could buy my training shoes kasi importante yung training shoes so that I could improve on my walking. Because walking, like honestly, it wasn't really my walking or like, the projection and stuff. It wasn't really my strength. But I've always had presence kasi. I know how to communicate somehow from stage to judges and from stage to audience. Like, because I'm comfortable on stage.
Yes.
But yeah, like the swimsuits and stuff, like, that's new. Of course, I look like a baby. That's why I didn't
Baby
win.
face.
But
All right.
it was a good experience.
What was the most significant lesson you learned while working to finish your studies?
Of course, the motivation there talaga is I really, really want to graduate, right? So I never gave up. Kasi sometimes what other, the younger, it's so old now.
Yeah.
But the youth forgets, or like sometimes like what they end up doing is when they start making money, they stop schooling.
Yeah. I
So,
agree.
because when they start making money, they can do things that they should have been doing after
After
graduating. But for me, I had a very clear
Goal.
goal, and I really wanted to graduate. So even though, of course, there were money that like came and went, but always like I had that drive to always like find something.
Yes.
And I'm really just thankful, kay God then, because He never. Although it's always, there's a sense of uncertainty, like where am I gonna get my tuition?
Oo, kasi
Where am I
mahal
gonna
sa
do
binilde.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I wasn't a scholar. I was actually paying full tuition.
Wow.
So it was really crazy. I would have like one semester I have to pay for 80K. Like, where do I get 80K?
Oh my God.
And there would be moments, not all semesters are like that, but there are semesters that are like that, especially in
Yeah.
the start. And I was like, oh my God, like what do I do? Kasi as working student, you're not allowed to exceed more than 15 units. Kaya it's not gonna be too crazy, but nonetheless, it's still expensive. And that's not including your everyday pa. So yeah, I was very dedicated, even though I don't know where I'm gonna get things. But every time an opportunity like arrives, I try and grab it as long as it doesn't compromise any of my values. Then
yeah.
I would give it a shot, which I'm glad I did. So I think before I did Miss Earth kasi, so my first pageant was Binibining Pilipinas in 2011. And that year, Shamsi won, and she was like a board top-notcher, and like that actually inspired me more kasi I felt like the beauty queen standard has like she raised really the bar.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you also want to be a graduate and achieve an educational education.
Degree, yeah.
Yes, and to be able to be more confident, although it's not really required, but it gives you a little bit of more edge, sort of.
Okay.
So that made me, like really like I'm not gonna go back into pageantry if I'm not like a graduate. So like I really worked my way out. But it was actually still another pageant who helped me cross the finish line with my studies, because I was already hosting at this point. So I was making good money like hosting. But I ended up hosting a press conference for Miss Manila.
Nice.
So in Binibini, I represented Iloilo because I was really like fresh from there. But also, I was born in Manila, so I was eligible to join Miss Manila. So I was like reading it, press conference, and then I started like announcing the prizes. I was like, oh my God. I was like, maybe I try this. It was only such a short competition, like 2-3 weeks max, and that's just and it was also during the semestral break. And I was like, I'm not gonna lose so much of my school time. And the prize money was like 1 million pesos.
Oh, that's so.
And if you're the winner, like cash, they'll give you 500,000 cash. And then if you're first runner-up, they'll give you like 350, second runner-up, 250. And that's way more money than when you get even with the national pageants out there. So I was like, why not try it? I'm eligible anyways. I am born in Manila. And I did. I didn't win it still, but it gave me enough money. I won second runner-up, so I got like
Wow,
250,000 pesos.
congratulations. Yeah.
So like the blessings come in, like,
Yeah.
like, padahan-dahan lang, not in one go. But I always get what I need at the perfect time that I need it.
Wow, that's
So
really...
it's such...
Wow.
Yes. So that's how I was able to sustain
Your
my
tuition
school.
fee.
Yeah, my tuition fee. And now all I need to worry is like the money I need to make to go to school every day.
Wow.
Right?
So,
So and I commute, so I don't really like much.
Oo.
It's a challenge.
but during that time, like before Miss Manila, was there a time in your life that, of course, even if you had this job of, hosting, was there even a time that, you question yourself, you doubted, like, wait, what if this happens? What if I don't get the money to pay for my tuition? Was there something?
Always, it was a constant thing.
Even if,
Yeah, it was a constant thing. And I'm also a breadwinner of my family. So I don't just take care of myself. I have my mom, my brother.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, it was I matured early because of the circumstances that were presented to me, by life, which I really had no choice naman. It is what it is. You deal with the cards that you're dealt with.
Yes.
So like of course it's not just one moment. It was
A lot of
series
times.
of moments like, oh my god, like where do I get this, where do I get that? But the thing is with me, I don't limit myself. I always try and find ways. I would go to go-sees. I'd audition.
Yeah, you always...
I managed to put myself out there. The thing is, I don't even have a manager or anything like that. So
everything was on your
by
own.
chance, but there wasn't a time that I don't do anything because I know, I don't know where to get this in the future. But winning Miss Manila has secured at least my schooling. Yun na lang. And then of course after that, even after like Miss Manila, they actually invited me. They actually the city government of Manila actually gave us allowance afterwards because they invite us when there's dignitaries that would visit the mayor. Would be the one who would like put the garland on. So parang kahit papano like may allowance ng onte.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
that was good. And of course I did Miss Earth after that.
Yeah. So Miss Earth. So can you share with us your life, like when you were competing with Miss Earth?
So what happened with Miss Earth is
Because I remember the time when we were competing.
yeah, of course.
Miss Earth
We're like almost together all the time that time. What happened with Miss Earth, I had no plans of going back to pageantry again. Kasi
Okay.
of course, I still haven't finished my school. I wanted to go to a national pageant when I actually finished my school, but like Tita Rogel, from Kea.
Si Tita Raj.
Yes. He saw me because I attended Binibining Pilipinas just to watch. And of course, when you watch, you also like kind of dress up as a former,
Miss Manila.
candidate also of Binibini. So, you dress up and then he's like, Angelia, hinog ka na.
Sabi niya.
I was like, I think Miss Earth is for you. Because before I was planning to go back to Binibini because that's where I didn't make it last time. And he was like, I can see you talaga in Miss Earth. And he kept on messaging me for months. And I wouldn't really like entertain it because I didn't feel like I was ready. But Tito was like, no, I can sense that you're ready. Like why don't you try? And eventually, just like Miss Manila, during the next year, during Miss Earth, it was also the time of my semestral break. And I was like, well, maybe I can do this again and, not miss so much like school because it will be on the same time of my break. And that time was the transition of K to 12. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
So there was fewer freshmen in Benil. So instead of our normal 1 week break, it was a little bit longer. So I was like, why not? Maybe I try. And
Yeah.
then I made a pact with God. I was like, Lord, if I make it for Miss Philippines Earth and I win this thing, or if I don't win this thing, I was like, it means I'm gonna head back to Binibini and come back prepared, and graduate.
Yeah.
But if I win Miss Philippines Earth, sabi ko, ay, ituloy-tuloy mo na, Lord.
Yeah.
Sabi, tuloy-tuloy na tayo. Isang go na lang. Parang
Yeah.
nandiyan na yung momentum. And, I was
Eventually
very
won.
vocal with my prayers. I think
Yes.
that's one of the advice or tips I could give. Words have power talaga.
Yeah.
And when I ask or when I dream or pray for something, I say it out loud. Like I talk to God like He's a friend. Like I would joke even with Him. Kinda even in my relationships now, like with my relationship now, I prayed for the person that I'm with. I was very specific. I think that's one of the things that really helped because I was also really specific, and I guess the heavens has a way to help you go in that direction. And if it doesn't happen, it means it's not for you.
Yes, I agree. So right after, of course, eventually with that mindset, with that faith in God, so you're able to win Miss Philippines Earth and eventually Miss Earth 2015. So that was a really,
It was a feat because it was the first time that Philippines won back-to-back.
Yeah. Galing
Actually,
nga.
in any pageant.
Oo.
So, first time in Miss Earth and first time also in other pageants
Yeah.
in terms of for Philippines. It really changed my life,
Kasi parang knowing all your story, that was your really big break talaga, winning Miss Earth. And then actually, what made it more inspiring was your story prior to winning Miss Earth, right? So, I have another question for you. So, what advice would you give to women who are currently facing tough times like what you did in the past? And, whenever you feel like giving up, kasi syempre you had a hard life before.
I know.
So what advice can you give them?
I know that they probably would hear this a lot. Like, don't give up, blah, blah, blah. But it's really true. For me, I think, the advice I would probably give them, because I apply this in my life, is that when things don't make sense, I stop, I pause, and then I pray and ask, what am I missing? What am I not learning from here? Kasi you have to let go of the things that you don't have control of.
I agree.
You only have control of the things. The things that you have control of, then that's the one that you can work on, right? But there are external factors that you really can't manipulate, or that's just how life is. And
Yes.
if you think that it's beyond your boundary, then let it go.
I agree.
So I think that really helped me a lot because sometimes, we could be really stubborn, I really want this, why can't I have this? And you start having self-doubts and you're when I get too frustrated, that's when I'm like, wait, okay, what am I missing? What did I not learn from the last time? Why is this happening again?
Yeah.
I have a lot of conversations with myself.
Okay.
I know that sounds so, it looks stupid for other people looking in. But
It's more
for
of a
me,
pep
it
talk.
really, yes. And as I grew older, the challenges changed. Eventually, it becomes your mental health, and eventually it became relationship. Because back in the day, my struggle was I need to keep on making money,
Yes.
survive. I was in survival mode. I had no time for to deal with petty things, and
Yeah.
and also I had no space for even relationships.
Yes.
Even my relationships back then, it was I'm very selfless naman. If you know
that.
me enough, and I've always put other people
First, yeah.
first, which is sometimes okay, but also sometimes not.
Yeah, I know.
Because you cannot give what you don't have, so you need to always balance that out. So yeah.
Okay, so actually, I'm really inspired by your story, and even if I knew way back before, I thought that know you as a person way back then. Pero, because of
It's
this
just a
interview,
refresher.
a refresher lang, diba? But, I'm really glad I had this conversation with you. Your story was very inspiring. And actually, I didn't know that you sang, diba? You sang before. And then, one last message siguro before we, cap this episode. So, what message?
Wow.
Yeah.
Capping the episode na pala.
This episode. So, what message do you have for young women who aspire to make a difference like you? So, in the world, just like you have.
Honestly, I'm gonna I promise myself not to use the word honestly as much because,
Okay.
it's,
You're always honest.
you should be always honest. But just to stress it out, I wasn't really someone who dreamt of changing the world at first because my upbringing was like survival mode. That only happened after I've achieved things na. Like, that's when I started thinking about impact. And like I said, with Miss Earth, it really changed my life and the way I see life. I entered the competition not really expecting how it would change the way I see the world, And it opened my eyes about the environment, and it became really a real passion of mine. I came in without a solid passion for the planet, and I came out a better person for the planet. And
Wow.
I've continued, I try my best. I know it's almost been a decade since I won. Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember your,
my
what
God.
is your We Will?
We will because we can.
Yeah, so can
So
you
that was
share with
my-
them? What's that? So,
We will because we can is such a powerful statement that I can't
Very
seem
iconic.
to copyright.
it's an
I
iconic
tried.
line of hers.
It
in
is.
this earth.
It is my winning answer. I say that with all my heart because I do believe that every person, whether you're a man or a woman, but as
Yeah.
a woman, because our challenges, are a little bit different and probably more, challenging. We will because we can is something that I thought of to encourage, every person that hears it because it's applicable not just in your environmental journey but also in anything in life. You have to believe in yourself kasi I know sometimes it's so hard to believe in yourself, but really, we are given challenges and struggles because we can. God gives the bravest soldiers the battles.
yeah.
Ano ba yan? Sorry naman, mag-share na lang ako, hindi mali-mali pa. But I mean, the thought is, binigay sa'yo yung challenge na yan dahil kaya mo yan.
Yeah, you're a strong person.
Yes.
You're a strong person.
So, God will not give you
But you cannot
a
handle.
trial if you cannot handle it. And if you
I
feel that
agree.
you don't surrender because, there's always a lesson behind it. Ako, I'm always looking out, what is the lesson here?
Yes.
Because life is a continuous journey and it's a continuous learning journey.
Yeah, learning process talaga. Everything.
Everyone is a work in progress. Walang
I
tapos
agree.
na.
I agree
Walang
with you.
tapos na. So, I think one of the advice also that I could give, and I always share this naman, I also say this when they said, what do you think made you win? What did you think was your edge?
Yes.
And I always say, I've always been authentic. I've always been true to myself. I don't
Yeah.
pretend to be another person or I've always believed that, I have special qualities that I could share in the world, that I could demand a seat on the table. If I don't have
I
a table,
agree.
then I'll make one.
Yeah. Make space for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So no matter what you do, just remain truthful.
Yeah,
Kasi
I agree.
Everybody can smell fakeness.
I agree.
So, kung kaya mo magpakatotoo, do that. And everything you do will make it 10 times more better. For sure.
Nice. That's good.
You will because you can.
Yes. Okay, you will because we can. We will because we can.
I'm
So,
saying to the camera,
yes.
you will.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so Miss Angelia Ong, Miss Earth 2015. So, thank you so much for, guesting in our episode. And, Angelia here is a true testament of a really strong, independent woman who raised herself. It's really admirable how she balanced her work, her career, her work, her career, despite being a working student and eventually winning the international crown. And I hope her story inspired our viewers to, to strive harder, to be resilient, to be strong.
And also,
Never give up.
yes, and I mean, if an opportunity knocks, try.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Yeah. Always seize the opportunity whenever it presents itself to you. So, thank you.
Thank you, also,
thank you,
Kim.
Angelia.
Congratulations again on your show.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you
happy
so
to be
much.
here.
And I every time that I hear your story, I always get inspired by it because parang if I was to put myself in your position, oh my God, this girl is so strong. Like, I don't know how you handled all these things, but yeah, thank you so
I
much for
winged
your diba?
I just didn't give up.
So,
I winged it.
literally one of the women that we feature here in Rise and Slay, She wakes up and she always slays the day. Right? All right. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Angelia.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, bye.